tossing our cookies over the fence. We Deckards did just about everything together. We ate together, played together, went to church, visited neighbors, picked green beans, and watched TV as a family. One time we even got sick together, all 8 of us. I'm talking about the good old-fashioned Southern Indiana stomach flu. We had an indoor bathroom by that time, thanks to Grandpa, who had it installed while we were in Florida. But one bathroom and 8 of us needing it right now wasn't working out. So Dad devised a plan, called an emergency meeting, and laid it out for us. If you're feeling an urge in the pit of your stomach, go outside and lean over the fence. It was quite a sight, 2 or 3 of us at a time leaning over the whitewashed wooden fence and tossing our cookies into the cow pasture. I'm sure that the cows didn't appreciate it, but they were nice about it and never said anything. Although one of them did get me back one time, as you'll see in the next story. The next story. Dad had a thing for swings. He delighted in finding the tallest tree possible with a high-up branch to hang a swing on. At the brick farm we had 2. One was right next to the house, and the other was in the cow pasture. He was able to hang a swing without the use of a ladder by tying a block of wood to one end of the rope. Then, like the little boy David with his sling, he'd swing it round and around with his eye on the high-up branch, and then release at the right moment and watch it sail toward the head of the giant. Oh, that is the branch. If it missed, he'd try again and again until over it went. The little boy David had to get it right the first time. Then with a few shakes of the wrist, he could make that block come back down to him, tie a lasso knot, pull the rope back up to the high branch, then repeat all of that with the other end of the rope. His were the best swings ever. They had a nice, long, gliding through the air time that would tickle your belly. What about the cows from the last story, seeking revenge for us defiling their pasture? The swing in the pasture had served us for a long time, and one end of the rope was broken off from the branch, so it had been cut away, and we were left with a single rope. With no seat, we had to grab hold with our hands and swing like a monkey. One day I was doing that and had a bright idea. I tied the rope to my belt in back, and I ran a few steps until the rope jerked me off my feet, and to my delight, I was perfectly balanced and glided in a semicircle and slid to a safe landing in the tall grass. With a little more practice, I spread my wings and flew like the picture on the cereal box from a previous story. Again and again I did this. On my final flight of the day, I had a rather awkward takeoff and was yanked off of my usual course, and when I came in for the landing, I slid through the grass and into a freshly baked cow pie. I wondered if perhaps the cows had plotted this revenge and were at that moment just around the corner of the barn, snickering. Moving again. There wasn't much work for Dad in Mitchell, so he headed up to Bloomington and found employment building a new football stadium for Indiana University. This was 35 miles from our brick farm, so he also found a house to rent just a short walk to his new job. Moving day came and we were excited. We arrived at 1210 North Walnut Grove, and the new house looked wonderful, to my 9-year-old eyes, that is. When I stepped through the front door, I almost tripped and fell because there was a beautiful new wall-to-wall carpet in the living room, and I didn't want to get my dirty shoes on it. Mom laughed and pulled me on into the room. It wasn't carpet at all, but a brand new piece of linoleum that Dad had installed just the day before. It did have a fake carpet pattern, so I wasn't totally wrong in my first instinct. Well, we had everything a modern house dweller would want. Indoor bathroom, one. Running water to the kitchen and bath. And a coal stove in the living room to keep us warm and toasty, or at least alive. And we all had a place to sleep. I had to share a double bed with my older brother, David. It wasn't such a great deal for him since I was a bedwetter. Also, my teddy bear, Smokey, the one that had the eye transplant and couldn't see, had to sleep with us. Another bad deal for my brother. Smokey liked to have a soda cracker snack at bedtime, and he couldn't chew very well, so I had to break the crackers up for him. And since both of his arms were paralyzed from a bad fall as a cub, I had to push the crackers into his mouth. Whatever fell back out, I would try to find and eat. But a few went missing. Well, one night we had eaten our soda crackers, and David came and crawled in on his side of the bed. He began to thrash about and exclaimed, "What's this scratchy stuff in the bed? Have you been feeding your bear crackers?" Well, how did he know? "Give me that bear," he continued. "I can smell the crackers on his breath." Thank you for joining me today for yet more mostly mundane adventures of Jim. I hope you can tune in next time for adventures number 17, and we will lead off with a story about bats and rats. You don't want to miss it. Well, then again, maybe you do.